It's going.
Sorry, coming getting a swig of water there. Hey Sam, how you doing?
Good.
I think I read that it's going to be like a high of 80 or 82 or something in Gainesville. It's been a while since it's been that hot here. Do you have to remind the guys to, stay hydrated and you kind of, like it's kind of like you're back in fall camp, and do you take the big fans on the for the sidelines on the equipment truck and stuff like that?
I don't think so this time. I think we think it's going to be around 76 to 78, and that should be we should be fine there in that temperature. It may get up to 80 by the end of the game or something, but we've talked about hydration and just making sure we're ready to go. It'll be fun to go out there. It'll be great atmosphere and great weather for November.
I know you've talked in the past and maybe this week too about you'd recruited Josh Braun when you were at Georgia, and obviously he went to Florida. When a guy goes to a different school, especially now with the portal, how important is it to maintain relationships? So if they decide they want to make a move, that you're somebody they're going to consider.
I think, Bob, I think it's more important that just when you leave, like you're recruiting somebody and then they decide to go to another. I think it's more important of how you are when that happens to you. I mean, mine was different because I got the head coaching job at Arkansas, and I don't know, maybe a couple of days later he decommitted from Georgia and went to Florida. Um, but I think it all depends on how you handle the situation when you're the loser in the recruiting process. If you handle it the right way, you obviously have a chance to get them back. And this was a little bit different. I had a really good relationship with him and his family, and right when he went in the portal, he called and we said, sure, we certainly would be interested in having you here, and he's worked out well for us.
Thanks.
Trey. Yeah, coach. Florida's got two offensive line coaches. It looks. I was just looking at their list, and Rob Sale's also offensive coordinator. I was just curious your thoughts on that. You don't see that very often.
You don't anymore, Trey. I mean, there was a phase there, and I'm gonna say in the late '90s, mid to late '90s, where you would have a tackle tight end coach and you would have an interior guy. Actually, when I got hired in '96 at Cincinnati, I was a tackle and tight end coach, and Bob Lively was the offensive line coach, and so those things are not as I was selfish. Whenever I was O-line coach, I wanted to coach them all, thought I could, and all those type things. Um, but you do see that sparingly out there. It'd be interested to see how all that works, who handles the meetings, or they're two separate meetings, because I think it would be hard to have two separate meetings. But I can see with him being a coordinator, maybe that's, he may need to be at the beginning of some meetings with the skill players, and he has an O-line coach to handle the rest of them. That'd be interesting. I may ask him about that. That's an interesting topic. I may ask him about that on Saturday. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You have any kind of connection with anybody on their staff, and what you mentioned, Sale. What is your background with him?
Well, with Rob, and it was uncomfortable for him. Well, it was uncomfortable for me too. But he handled it like a champion. And when I went to Georgia, he was the offensive line coach there that I was, that they had gotten let go. And we went there. Kirby asked us to go in there and watch them during their bowl prep for Penn State that year. And we went in there, and obviously he was a coach, and we professional and talked, and he told me about his guys there and things of that nature. And then he was able to work with at Louisiana a guy named DJ Looney, who was my GA at Georgia, who wonderful person. And DJ was the tight end coach there. Rob was running the offense at Louisiana, and then coaching the offensive line. DJ, unfortunately had the heart attack there at practice and passed. But we got close in that relationship too, because I was checking on him, and and the player and the coaches there at Louisiana, and obviously we had a similar love for DJ Looney.
And with your offensive line, you mentioned Devon Manuel and Andrew Chamblee, going at it. I was curious, just with the time off, is Chamblee back, or excuse me, not Chamblee, but Manuel, is he back 100%, or is I guess close to health as you can get?
Yes, I think he's back as close to healthy as he can get. Obviously the time, he's still got some rust he's got to get off and things of that nature, but he's I don't think he's close to back to where he was in 2 days and those things. In that time, Chamblee's obviously improved and things, so we'll be able to play both of them. But he is the stingers that he's been having have not reoccurred over the last 2 weeks.
What causes that? The stingers?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just know that it must be painful, because when it becomes reoccurring, and really, from what I'm understanding, the only thing that can really help you is just rest and strengthen whatever that area is there, the stinger comes from. I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know that it's a recovery and it takes some time and rest.
Thanks, Coach.
Jackson.
Hey, Sam, you mentioned on Monday that you really needed to stay out of 3rd and long against this defense. I'm just curious, what about, I mean, that's the same pretty much in any offensive philosophy, but what about Florida makes that a particular focal point this week?
All the different looks that they give you, of whom to declare the 5 most dangerous guys. They have a very exotic packages. Changes seems to be weekly. There's some similarities, but it does change via team weekly. So you just got to locate the bigs first. Who the guys that you don't want the back on, and then go from there. But they just have so many different looks that they're very hard to prepare for, just whom to block. And then you obviously have to block the guys. Obviously, we think they've got 2 really good defensive ends, and any linebacker, they got big linebackers. So, we don't want to be in that 3rd and long where we're sitting there having to drop back all the time. Maybe we can roll, maybe we can run it, maybe we can naked, maybe we can do some things other than just drop back.
You said they were similar to Georgia's defense. Are they similar to anyone that you've faced this year schematically?
Ole Miss, there's some similarities there. Ole Miss, Alabama would be another one. Their 3rd down package is different than those guys, but your first is normal down and distance, probably those 2 teams. Probably even more so Alabama.
Gotcha. And talking to some of the players yesterday, they mentioned bowl eligibility, but said that there's a lot of other motivation for this game aside from that. I'm just wondering, there's a long way to go, obviously, but are you talking with your guys already kind of about, bowl eligibility and what's on the line?
We haven't talked a whole lot this week about that. We've talked a lot about passion and getting our pride back and getting our respect back. We've never won in Florida, in Gainesville. We've got plenty of incentive, but one of them is we need to play better, and we need to get respect from the people of our state and our own university. We've got to get our respect back, and we've been playing hard. And so I'm not saying that we've lost respect from everybody. We've been playing hard. We've lost some close games, but we need to win one. I think we'll all feel a lot better.
Thanks, Sam.
Hutch.
Yeah, Sam, I know you mentioned this morning that Rocket's been kind of limited at practice. I'm just curious, what do you need to see from him today and the next couple of days? Like, what would you need to see to give you confidence that he's available on Saturday?
Just another, probably, to be perfectly honest with you, just another couple of days of consistency. Flashes that I've seen, I feel really good about him being able to play, but just another couple of days of consistency. Obviously, today's a big 3rd down day for us. How's he going to be able to protect and things of that nature? Just the whole week of what the whole Monday through Thursday encompasses, and And but the first 2 days, I feel confident that he'll be able to go out there and help us.
And if he is able to play, I mean, do you have him like on a snap count, or would it be full go like a regular game?
I think usually in younger kids, you probably protect them a little bit more. Rocket knows his own body, and I think we'll just listen to him if it gets to that point. We'll just let him be the guy that decides whether he needs a break or not.
Bob.
Hey, Sam, something I forgot to ask you at the start there. You said this morning, you weren't surprised that the players had a positive reaction to Kenny taking over as offensive coordinator, but that they'd really rallied around him. I was wondering, was there something in particular the players did that made you feel like they were rallying around him?
Well, the way that they practiced, would be the number one thing. Practices we're moving faster. We're more physical. That may have something to do with a lot of other coaches as well. But I think there was you can feel it a little bit that the kids have embraced change, and I'm saying a lot of that's probably because of Kenny.
Thanks.
Daniel.
Talked a lot about kind of how the quarterback's been adjusting. Just how are the running backs adjusting to the new scheme and cutting back on certain things in the playbook?
Yeah, I thought we were a little slow, hesitant. I thought everything was, but I thought we were as well on the quarterback exchange from the running back. So, we can't. The holes that we've been opening up, they've closed pretty fast for us, and we've got to get there faster. And so they've adjusted that, I believe, and we haven't really changed anything other than we've cut down. We've tried to figure out what we can do well, and we're going to go try to do that. So there's been positive about that. Had a really good team run period yesterday on offense, and I'm attributing it to we're running less plays and just hopefully we can run them better.
Thanks, Coach.
Tom.
Well, I actually was going to ask you something you touched on a little bit, but what does it look like in action? Kenny calling plays, when you've gone good on good, what it's looked like in action for you?
Now, we've done a lot of non-scripted plays, so Kenny can kind of get in a groove of moving the ball and second in this, and so he can have opportunities. We've done several 2 minutes. Yesterday we had a 3rd and 6 situation with 22 seconds left. Just did a situation so we could talk through that as well. We were in no timeouts, tour alert. What are you going to call to get the ball out of bounds? Are you going to call something to get a first down? And then are we going to kill it? Are we, all these type things that I think will help him and help his calmness. We've been working on all those things. So he's been very, very good in those situations, very, very, very good in the 3 2-minute periods that we've ran, and in moving the ball, moving the chains. It's easier to look down on your piece of paper and call a play. It's harder when you just now know it's 2nd and 8, what am I going to call? So we put him in those situations, and I think he's done really well.
Communicating the blocking scheme, the protection, was that part of the maybe too much offense? Was that part of it just as much as, anything else?
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get it. I don't really want to go back too far, but yes. I don't know what to say to that, but I don't want to say anything else about that, to be honest with you.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm sorry. It was a good question.
Otis.
Sam, this might be a better question maybe in 2 weeks, but you got 4 games left in the season. Is there any young guys that may be on the red shirt deal that you may start playing a little bit since they've got that 4-game window?
I think Maddox Lassiter, we talked about him this morning. I think he'll be a guy that at least comes in and starts playing some special teams for us. We've also talked about Malachi Singleton and not only, not as the quarterback necessarily right now, but as something, whether it be help us on special teams or somewhere, because he's a very talented, big athlete. The rest of the guys, we would have had either played them already or don't have a lot of plans to get them involved at this time.
Okay. Is Lester someone that's a scholarship candidate somewhere down the road? I know you bragged on him 2 or 3 times this year.
A very good possibility of that. I mean, he comes from Warren, Arkansas, and Bo Embry and those guys. I mean, they're tough down there, and he plays from Kansas State. It means something to him, and Bo was very high on him out of high school, and called and asked us to look at him. We obviously did, and he's a good player. He's tough, and very, very, very physical.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, guys.